This video will show you how to apply for the Community Facility Subsidy in 2026. It is no longer a paper application. You now have to do it online on the computer. Step 1 is the same as before. You speak with the staff at the community centre where you want to hire the room. Step 2 is you need to read the guidelines. So your group must be eligible to receive this subsidy. So they must be for people over 55, most of your group, so that's 80%, and or you can be living with a disability, and that means same 80% of people in your group have to be living with a disability, and they can have a carer come along as well. You must include a flyer and have insurance. If you haven't got your own insurance, you can ask the community centre staff to help you. And if you have any questions about the guidelines, they can help you. Step 3 is the same as before. You're going to get a letter from the centre that confirms the booking time that you want. And the letter will have a link to a website where you're going to apply online. So the link is going to be this one here. So these are the text, and you're going to type this into a computer. Now, if you don't have your own computer, hopefully someone in your family or a friend might have one, or you can go to a library to use one. It's free to use a library. So what I'm going to do, and this is what you will do, we're going to open a web browser, an internet browser, and I'm going to type in the top here that link, which is www.SmartyGrants, and mine's coming up, yours might or it might not, .com.au/CFS Community Facility Subsidy 25260. Okay, and then I'm going to press enter, and then it brings me to this screen. So I want to start a submission, and when you do this, it's going to ask you to log in. So if you haven't used SmartyGrants before, you won't have a password. So this is where if you haven't used SmartyGrants, you will register here, and you click this button, and it will ask you to put some details in. But I've already got an email, so I'm going to log in. Now this is a pretend email, so please don't email it. It doesn't go anywhere. So now it brings me to this screen, and I'm going to start a new submission. Now, if you want to have a look at some of these, it will go over some information. It gives you some hints. So there are the guidelines are here that we've talked about that you should have read. There's also a help guide for applicants, so you can print this out if you need to. And there's also some frequently asked questions. As you go through, we'll talk about saving and submitting. So now I'm going to start a new submission. And the way you navigate through SmartyGrants is you click the next page. So it's telling me my submission number is this one. And now I'm going to click next page. And as I look at this, I've got the help guide if I want to have a look. I've also, if you need a flyer, because you have to have that, there's an example of a flyer here, and you can click that and you can download it. And then you can add your details to that. So you can change that flyer, you can keep the example. That will open up, and you're able to change the text in that. We've got the flyer. It's opened up now. If I just highlight, I can put, event name is the senior, so you can type over the top of it. Anyway, so you can use that. Just close that, and then you can save that to your computer and use that as your flyer if you like. You can go save a copy, save it, somewhere on your computer. All right, so I'll leave that for now. And so when we go through this, we've got to ensure that we've done these 4 things when we apply. We've read the guidelines. We're applying for an activity for seniors. We've spoken to a community centre team member about this booking and your eligibility, and you've received a tentative booking letter. So you have to tick all 4 of these or they won't let you go through. And we go next page. Now this time I'm going to put our name is the Seniors Catch Up. Really simple. Group mail or postal address. This is just a pretend address. You're going to put your real one in, someone from the group. Get in there. It's got my, I'm going to use my name. Thompson. This is not my real name, so don't try and ring. I'm sorry. I am the organiser, so I'm going to put that in there. My phone number, again, this is a pretend one. You'll put your real one. So you can see that when you can just type your, now when it has a red star, it means it's a question you must answer. If it doesn't have one, you don't have to put anything. And now the email address, this can be anyone from your group. It just needs to be able to be checked because we will send the outcome of your subsidy application to this email. There's my 10 email, but it's working. Now, if you want to save your application, because sometimes when we're on the computer it might close, you can just press Save Progress. And then, because I've saved progress, it keeps you on the same page. If you wanted to save and close the application, and you could come back to it later, you would press this one. But we don't need to do that now. I'm going to go to the next page. And now this is about the eligibility. If you don't tick yes to all of these or you don't tick them, your application won't go through. So please confirm my group operates in Wyndham. Yes. Is your group incorporated or volunteer-based? We're not incorporated and we are a volunteer-based group, so I'm going to tick that one. Now, if you're an auspiced group, so that means another group is an auspice to you, you would tick this one instead. And then there's some information that you have to fill out about the auspice, and you have to attach a letter from them. But on this application, I'm going to say we're a volunteer-based group, and now this activity must be for seniors, and ours is for seniors. If you've got people with disability coming as well, you could tick that. And now, as part of the regular activity, are at least 80% of my group members aged over 55? Yes, they are. Are at least 80% of them living in Wyndham, our participants? So, yes. So that means you can't have most of your group coming from Geelong. That would mean you're ineligible. And then, do we welcome new members to our group? You have to welcome new members. You can't be just a closed group. So I'm saying yes. And I'm going to go next page. And then my activity name is the same as the group, just the Seniors Catch Up. And for this, when I read this question, it says, what is your group's activity statement of purpose? This must refer to seniors and or people living with disability. So this group, this is for seniors to meet and connect with others and learn about their neighbourhood. So something simple, it doesn't need to be tricky. On average, how many people attend my session? We have about 15 that come, so I'll just type that in, and you can see here a little hint that it must be a number. Now, how often will it run? Again, it's a red star, so we have to do it, and I can go to this little menu over here, and I can put weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. Now, it's going to be weekly, and what days will it run? Now, if you want to apply for 2 sessions, you want to have 2 different days, you could choose 2 days, but I'm going to keep ours simple, and it's going to run on Monday. Now, does your activity go during school holidays? This is up to you, but you just need to include this because otherwise we won't know how many bookings you want for the year. So ours is not going to run on school holidays. Will it run on public holidays? Again, no, we're not going to do that. And is there a cost to attend your group? If so, please list in the table below. So there's no cost, but if you do have a cost, it then asks how much per person. And again, it must be a dollar amount. And you can see a little hint here. You do not need to fill this out if there is no cost. So I'm leaving that blank. And then it's already, this question is already calculated that because I put 0 above, it has 0 below. If I put $5, so it's already calculated that I have 15 and they're $5 each, so it already calculates that for you, just in case you need to do that. So I'm going to change that now back to 0, and that changes it to 0. And then the next thing we need to know is, when does your group start? So in 2026, there's 2 ways you can do this, but I'm going to show you the easy one. You're going to click on the calendar, and these little arrows up here are going to, they've got this little triangle, and I'm going to click just once, and it shows me December, and then the next one shows me January. Now, we don't run on a public holiday, so we wouldn't be on Australia Day. I'm going to say our group starts on the 19th. And then we have to do, when does your group end? Now, these little arrows again are handy, and we can skip a whole year ahead. You can see, if we go back, that was 2025, and when I click the double arrows, it goes to November 2026. Now, our group is going to end in December, and it's going to be the last December before Christmas, so it's the 21st. So I'll click that, and now they've filled in. Now, this is where you put in what times do you want to book the centre. So our group meets from 9:30 till 11:30. So that means we need to allow 9 a.m. because we'll have 30 minutes beforehand to set up. And then we finish at 11:30, and then we need 30 minutes to pack up. So it'll be 12 noon. So how many hours? So include all of that, it's 3. Now, again, if you've got 2 bookings, as long as they both add up to 6, that's okay, because this subsidy doesn't cover more than 6 hours. Now I put in what community centre I want to use. I'll just tick the little box there. Now, do we receive any other funding? No, we don't, so we just leave that blank. If you did, just say you got a multicultural grant, you might type that in, and then you would put the amount, and then that would work out. This number down here changes to 2,000, but if you haven't got anything, you just leave that blank. So we'll close all of those, and you can see that automatically now will go back to 0. I'm going to save. I think I might have, I'll just save again. Again, it takes me to the bottom of that page, and then I can go next page. And now this is where you have to upload these documents. Is your organisation covered by public liability insurance? Yes, it is. Now on my computer, I'm going to put the new file. So if I double click that button, it lets me, and then it goes in. And then the other thing, I've put the expiry date as June 30, 2026. So I just use those buttons again, use the little ones to go through it by month, June 30. And now when that expires, I'll have to give a new one to the community centre for the second half of the year, but they will deal with that later. So I've put that in, and now we also have to upload the flyer. So, and this must state that it has for people with a disability. So I've got my flyer, I've double clicked on that, and that's it uploaded. And you can tell it's successfully been attached or uploaded because you'll see this little remove button, and that document comes under. So if they're blank, it hasn't attached properly. And then the last thing we have is the community centre name that we were running. Now, we've already ticked that, but the reason we've got it here is they will get notified of anything on your application. So if we need to ask for more information, we'll notify them as well. Now, if yours, you could make a little sneaky, you can highlight this text and right-click and say copy, and then you could right-click again and you could say paste, and that will paste that in. Now, ours is the Tarney Community Centre with all of that. And then just the email. So again, I'm pretty lucky I can borrow this one, but the email for your centre will be in the booking letter that you've received. So we've got that. And now All right, so now this is just saying that I'm submitting this form and, that it's all truthful. Thompson, gender name. Alrighty. And then we've got a response, so we can see when we need a response, we'll have this red block. Now, how indicate how we found the online form. Look, it was easy enough, but I've used a computer. How long did it take? Probably by the time I had to get my insurance certificate and the flyer, it was probably 1 hour. Do we have any improvements? No, I don't. I can leave that blank. And how did we hear about this program? I heard about it from the community centre. So now I'm going to go next page. And what this one does is this one tells me some changes to your application are required before it can be submitted. Check the highlighted items and fix them before it's submitted. So we'll go back and we'll have a look now and we'll see if there's any red things anywhere. That means we haven't quite filled that in. Here we go. How long? This is not a valid number. Okay, right. So I could only put it. It works out 1 hour. So 60. Sorry, I didn't read that. Here we go. Estimate in minutes. I read the little blue. So it was 60 minutes. Alrighty, great. And now that's done. And so we go next page. And now it says this is our chance to review the form in case there's anything. But we know there's now nothing wrong with it. So it's just reminding me of all the things. It shows me all the information I've put in case I want to have one last check. I'm going to scroll down because I know it's okay. And then all we have to do is press this little submit button down here. That's really important that you press that. And then it gives me a number. And what this has done is this will send an email of my application to the email that we've put in. I hope this has helped. And if you have any more questions, please go back to your community centre. Thank you.